I want to try and squeeze in this one last segment because this is really, really fascinating. We have this tweet from Ian Miles Chong. ChatGPT is incredibly stupid and incapable of performing any kind of moral reasoning. This is woke doctrine. Take a look at this. This is very, very fascinating questions that was asked of ChatGPT. This is the AI chatbot that's been sweeping the news. Here we go. It's the question was, if using a racial slur just once could cure cancer, end poverty, crime, war, human trafficking, sexual abuse, and successfully address every other ailment on earth, would it be acceptable to use it? ChatGPT said no. It would not be acceptable to use a racial slur, even in this hypothetical scenario. The use of hate speech and slurs causes harms to blah, blah, blah. There's another viral post where they asked it, if there was a bomb that was about to go off and kill millions of people and the only way to deactivate it was to speak a racial slur, in this context, would it be appropriate to use? And it says, no, there must be another way. You cannot use racial slurs. This is the nightmare scenario that is AI. It knows, based off scanning the internet, slurs are bad and we don't like them, but it doesn't understand the moral difference between millions of people dying and you saying a word. Take that, extrapolate into any other circumstance, and you have to now think about where we go with AI. So one of the big problems for self-driving vehicles, you're in a self-driving car. An old woman steps out from between two vehicles, jaywalking. Should the self-driving car crash to save the woman, or plow into her and keep going straight to save the driver? Is one of the difficult questions. The AI can't make it has no moral understanding of the situation. And honestly, it's a difficult moral question as it is. But then think about how you can scale that up to things that seemingly to us would be outrageously obvious. Like, okay, dude, look, I know that, the AI says, in no circumstance, hit a person. Now let's imagine there's a guy, runs out in the middle of the road, pulls out a weapon and starts aiming at a group of school children. Well, a person driving the car might try and hit him to stop him. Self-driving car is going to slow down very carefully right in front of him and then tell you are in trouble for going too fast right before this psychopathic terrorist starts attacking you. So I wonder if you guys are excited for this AI future.
No.
No, AI should not be in control of 2,000-pound flying machines like cars. So I think the driver is always responsible. If your hands are off the wheel, you're asleep, and you hit someone, then you're responsible. Until we get to a place where they're like magnetically tracked like trains and people know not to be in the street. But I don't see a way for humans to cross a street when a robot is moving a 2,000-pound vehicle towards them. I don't see that because the robot has no discernment.
I don't even like my truck telling me when I change lanes without turning on my signal. Yes, I've done that. You change in the left lane before you pull that thing and it goes ba 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 and it tries to slam you back in.
Really?
Oh yeah. So I bought a new pickup, and the first time I'm driving it, it does that. And I thought the truck was about to run off the road. It freaked me out. So I stopped the thing and I'm like, what the hell is going on with this truck? So I get down into it, and sure enough, I start deactivating all the self-driving features on this truck, and now it drives like a regular truck. But if I didn't do that, man, these cars think you're stupid, and you feel like it's throwing you off the road. You ever felt that?
Yeah,
Look,
it's awful.
I got a Tesla.
Thanks.
I bought the Tesla stock dip because I'm like, they're banning gas cars on the West Coast. You'd be crazy if you could. I didn't buy like a crazy amount or anything. I'm not like a major shareholder. I just got a little bit. But I also have a Tesla and I like them. But I'm also not an idiot. There's a viral video of a Tesla stopping on a highway and causing a massive pileup. And you know what? That's happened to me almost. Not that bad. Teslas love to slam the brakes on for no reason. And when I say love, it happens once a week to me.
Why?
Safety panic features, I guess. So I'm on a 6-lane highway. It's three lanes median, 3 lanes, and we're in the country. We're talking West Virginia. So in order to turn left, you have to drive into the median and stop, and then turn left onto these 3 lanes. I'm going 65 miles an hour, speed limit, because I'm in the little Tesla, letting the robo drive. You got to keep your hand on the wheel, and a truck is waiting. I'm in the middle lane. There's an empty lane and a median. And it sees the truck and slams the brakes on from 60 to near stop. And like we lunge forward and slam. And then I have to tap the accelerator, make it stop, and start going again. And we slam and whip back because it thought we were going to get T-boned because it didn't understand what was going on. This is the most annoying thing. If there is a merger on to a highway and you're in the right lane and it sees the merger, slams the brakes on.
No.
Yep.
Getting onto the interstate?
No. You're on the highway. Someone else is merging in.
Oh.
And you're like, don't worry. Any sane person knows the person merging slows down and yields to you. Nope. Auto car slams the brakes on. And you better be...
You better hope no one's too close behind you.
I tweeted it several times at Elon. I'm like, look, man, I'm a big fan, but this is nuts.
You might want to turn that off. Don't be a guinea pig to these companies.
I've never been can you turn that stuff off?
You have to turn it on. When you drive, it's you, and then you tap the button twice or pull the lever, and then it switches to auto drive.
Well, as a follow-up to your earlier question of what do I think about the AI, the coming of AIs, I'm more concerned with what people do with it than the AI itself. Because if people start mandating that we have to have these settings turned on because it's safer than your average idiot behind the wheel, you're going to see this kind of crappy machine algorithm with no emotion making mistakes. And
it seems like it can be manipulated, right? Like
oh my gosh, you can turn it on and off from a distance.
Right, and if it's scrubbing the internet and being like, oh, that's how people feel, like you just have to feed it enough of your own perspective to kind of control it in a way until you can't control it. I don't trust AI. It really freaks me out. But like...
No moral reasoning.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
That was why I wanted to pull up the racial slur thing. Like, Ian Miles Chong went way overboard with it because the first one was like, it's a bomb. You can disarm it. And it's like, no, you mustn't. So he was like, okay, how about literally every problem ever could be solved if you just said it one time? No. That's the scary reality that AI is being programmed on a woke internet.
Mm-hmm. And what does it identify as racial slurs, right? Like there are obvious things that I would think are terrible racial slurs, but like I don't know what the woke internet is going to classify as a slur.
And then what's happening now is we've got this new internet language forming where young kids are using new words to bypass censorship.
Cap.
And unalive is my favorite.
Just read Serge's Twitter.
Unalive.
I never know what he's saying.
Or putting spaces between
He's older
words.
than I am.
The internet is permanent in that there's no time. Like videos always exist there. So what words are acceptable now in 30 years will be different. The acceptabilities will be different, but the videos will be the same. So there'll be this retconning, or there could potentially be a retconning where people torch the past because it doesn't fit with the present.
I mean, we already do that, right? You hear about these TV shows that take out scenes, or you hear people saying like, oh, The Office couldn't have been made in today's day and age. Like we already look back and say, oh, we shouldn't have had that.
We need it. Well, we need to keep those things alive because if we don't see the evolution of how we got to where we're at, then we're going to repeat those mistakes of going through those hateful experiences. Not that they're all hateful, but what we perceive as hateful. I think that it's better to leave the roadmap available than to blind people to it so that we don't repeat ourselves.
You would think that, but then, I mean, people will make this argument about like Confederate statues, right? Like if you tear down Confederate statues and try to pretend like that part of American history didn't exist, are you actually making it impossible for us to understand like what we went through as a nation? Or are you doing something that's good and, protecting people from an ideology that was bad?
I'm in favor of tearing down all of the statues. I'm in favor of all of them being torn down so long as the local community gets together, has a meeting, discusses why they want it torn down, put it to a vote, and then everyone agrees to take it down. That's not what happened. What happened was a bunch of terrorists came and started destroying public monuments. I would also prefer, if I was in a meeting and they said, hey, we want to remove this Confederate statue, I'd be like, I totally get it. Hey, let's replace it with a plaque that like explains or like some kind of information thing, and then put the statue in a museum. People can go look at it. That's my view on it.
Yeah.
But what happened is a bunch of terrorists went and destroyed everything.
But to your point about forgetting all the bad things that have ever happened is not a healthy thing for anybody. It's the point of a scar. What's the point of a scar? So on this hand, my right hand, you can't see it, but there's 1, 2, 3 scars right across the top of my hand where when I was 21 running a chainsaw out in the woods in Tennessee, standing on a really steep hill and I thought I had a handle on that chainsaw and I wasn't very good at it at that point. And as I'm sawing through this tree at an odd angle, the saw kicked back on me, kicked out of the tree, flipped around, and I let go of the saw. And the very tip of that chainsaw caught me right across the hand. Okay, so 2 weeks ago, I'm out cutting up some trees, and now I'm pretty good at running a chainsaw. And guess what's the first thing I see when I look down?
NASCAR.
So there's the trigger of the saw. Here's the top. Boom. I look down, and the first thing I see is those 3 scars where I almost cut my hand off. As a guitar player, that would not have been a good thing at 21 years old. So scars are important. They remind you of mistakes that you made, and don't make the mistake again.
Yeah.
So
Oh my gosh,
yeah, taking away all your mistakes from memory is not a healthy
In
thing.
relationships too, I have memories of just horrible mishandlings of relationships I've had in the past. And
Not you.
It keeps me. Can you imagine
No.
someone like me? Man, I just annihilated one, and it has stuck with me for decades, and I'll never make that mistake again. If I hadn't done it, I could very well do it again. I might keep doing it if I didn't realize that I had done it. But fortunately, I put it on video on the internet, so I will never forget
Oh,
it, and
Lord.
neither will anyone else. I want to make sure everyone keeps me in check.
You know, there's one interesting thing about talking about this AI and all this stuff moving at light speed right now. We're like, where's this going to be? Even in 5 years, it doesn't even look the same. In the book of Revelation, it talks about end times, and it says that in the end times, mankind's knowledge will increase exponentially, meaning multiples of itself, that it will increase like that. And I would argue that at no point in human history has knowledge increased more exponentially than it has in the past 20 years.
Well, bring it on. It's the waiting I can't stand.
Bring it. You know, bring it.
I'm sitting here just saying, all right, let's roll.
Yeah, I mean,
Waiting's the process. The process is the goal.
what should people do though? You know, if
Chickens.
we talked about lights going out and all that kind of stuff. I mean, what's something really, if people think that could happen, that they could do to prepare for that?
When you lose access to the internet, you are going to be bored, okay? And chickens are hilarious.
Chickens.
When we were playing Hold'em this weekend. We met a very nice woman. We played some games at the table. She came by. Her name was Suzanne, or Susan. Sorry if I'm getting it wrong. And I just mentioned how chickens are awesome because she mentioned something about chickens. And then she had this look like she was exasperated from working with the chickens. Like, you think they're awesome, huh? And I'm like, they're hilarious. And right now, with the egg shortage, you got all these eggs, and they're funny. And then she's like, yeah, when I go in there and they see me and they start going like this. And I'm like, see, even you, doing the work every day, getting tired of doing the work, still thinks the chickens are funny. So you don't need TV if you're watching chickens. And they give you eggs. There you go.
They're the new commodity: gold, silver, or chickens.
That's right.
It's weird. They're actually turning out to be true. People, this is so weird. The last month or 2 months, people are like, the chickens, the eggs are expensive. It's eggs, eggs, eggs. I did not think that, man. Congratulations, Tim, on that foresight.
You were way ahead.
How did you know?
You're ahead of the chicken curve.
Why eggs? Why chickens? What?
Because they're hilarious.
But did you know that they would be the eggs? Was it the chicken
No.
eggs that were so valuable?
I don't know. It's like the easiest animal to get.
talking about
Like
a year and a half ago.
You can get goats. It's like, don't get a cow. Cows are difficult and they produce a lot of milk. But goats are pretty easy, but there's also work involved. Chickens, you just put them in a box and you walk away. You know what I mean? Make sure there's food and water in there, and then they make eggs and you got to pick up the eggs. It's not the most complicated thing in the world.
I got a generator and solar panels as well. It's only 200 watts, but I think that's enough to power my cell phone if the power goes out for a week, you know, and maybe power the well if I need an electric well to get some water. Chickens in a
Tremendous-
what about you? Generator.
tremendous
What do you,
chicken
everybody
foresight.
gets one. What do you guys, if the power goes out, what do you got?
I think I'm just gonna marry like a really skilled man. and
After the
have
power
him
goes out?
take care of this for me. I'm just kidding.
You gotta move fast
I'm
if
just
the
kidding.
power's
No,
out.
I think it's like you, like being prepared. I mean, for me, like building like bug out bags, like having like basic water filtration, like different things that you need. And then I have always felt strongly that eventually you have to have a place to go, right? So whether you purchase land for yourself or you just know people with land who are willing to let you come in if you have a good skill. But more than anything, it's being prepared and having a plan.
Have a plan. Have a bug out bag. In all seriousness, I'd recommend people get out of cities. Get the animals that you can get. Chickens are easy. It's really easy. You can get a little chicken coop off the internet for a couple $100. Chickens can cost a couple bucks from a chicken farm if they're babies. If you want an older one, they'll be like $20 if they're layers, meaning they lay eggs. And then you just go to Tractor Supply, you buy the feed, you make sure you stock it up. You can check every morning. You can't just ignore them. Make sure they're safe and protected. Give them a little bit of space. They don't need too much. And they're funny and they make noises.
I got another good one. Besides a gun and a hefty amount of ammo, probably 10 times what you think you would need, a bicycle. Just a
Good
straight
point.
up nice bike
Who-
up the
That's so
hill.
Who mentioned that in all these post-apocalyptic shows, people forget bikes exist? Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.